Hi class. So I wanted to make another little tip on how to do well in ME 172. And I was thinking about my most recent experience with learning more about CAD software, which has been at work for me. I work at Orbital ATK and I'm in the satellite structures division where we do structures for satellites as well as test fixtures and assembly fixtures and things like that. And we use a different CAD software called NX by the German company Siemens, and I really love using it, but it's been a pretty steep learning curve for me since I started there because they use it at a whole other level than what I had been used to. So there were a lot of things that I was learning that I had to try to remember how to do them, and I came up with a way of kind of keeping notes of things that I learned how to do so that I would remember how to do them later when I hadn't had to do them for a while. And I thought I'd share that with you guys. So what I basically did was, because I didn't want to take paper notes because so much of what I do is on the computer, what I did was I started using PowerPoint to keep those notes. So I thought I'd show you just kind of an example of how I've done that. The PowerPoint slide set that I have now for the notes, and I've worked at my position that I'm in now for about a year, and over a year I've made a slideshow of about, well, it's over 100 slides now, if I remember when I checked last, of notes that I have of how to do things. So what I did was I just took a PowerPoint slide deck like this, and then on each new slide, it's just one slide per how to do whatever something is. So let's say, for example, that in SolidWorks, in one of your last assignments in Unit 3, one of the things you had to do was find the perimeter of a shape or of an object, but only find the exterior perimeter, so not the interior perimeter too. Because if you just click on the face with the measure tool, then it gives you the exterior perimeter plus the interior perimeter of like all the holes that go through it. It gives you those edges as well. You don't want that. And the only other way manually to get that perimeter distance around the edge is to manually click on every single little line. So the better way to do it is, if you right click on an edge, if you hover and then right click, then you can click select loop and it'll give you that whole loop, which is really easy. But to remember how to do that, because that's a great example of something that I would forget. If I only have to do that once a month at work, I'm going to forget how to do that until I've done it at least a few times, and that means I'm going to have to go ask someone a few times. So what I would do is I would say something like, on this slide, how to select only the exterior perimeter. And this doesn't have to be anything fancy at all. And then I would just kind of type out a few things like hover over edge, right, if I can type, click, select, loop. And then one thing that always helps me to remember is to grab a screenshot of it. So I did a screenshot of that, and then I can come over here and grab it and drag it in and drop it into here, and then just make it the right size to fit on the page, and then voila, I've got that saved. That's going to be really easy to come back to and say, how do I do that? I can just Command F or Control F to search for perimeter, and hey, it'll find it in all the slides for me, and I can look and say, oh, it's a measure tool, and I right click and say select loop. I remember how to do that now. Okay, I'm good. So that's one way, and I don't know if that'll be as useful for you guys, but for me that's been a lifesaver at work when I've been learning all this new stuff and how to use CAD better. It's been really useful for me. Hopefully it'll be useful for you guys, and help you to remember the things that you're learning better. So best wishes. Talk to you later.